Hi guys, welcome back. It's Mrs. Simpson with SMS PLS, and today I'm actually going to show you how to create one of my favorite crafts that I've done. It's this button initial wall hanging. Now, I'm actually not going to have you do the part where you put it on the canvas on the back. You're just making the letter, but then you can decide if you want to put magnets on the back, add it to a wreath for your front door, or put it on a piece of cardboard or canvas covered in fabric like I did. This is actually something that people really liked, and Ms. Cesney up in the foreign language department, her last name starts with an S. This is going to her as soon as I'm done with the video. So I've decided I'm actually going to make a gift for somebody else this time. I'm going to do the letter L for Mrs. Lillis down in counseling. So let me go ahead and make sure that I start off with all my supplies. So first off, I'm going to start with my Cool Melt glue gun. This is going to be really important to this project, and I want to have several extra glue sticks on hand. Depending on how big the letter is for your last name, you may need 2 or 3. I'm going to set them over to the side. Notice I put my Cool Melt glue gun on this paper plate. Now remember, a Cool Melt glue gun doesn't actually mean you want to squirt the glue directly on your skin. It can burn and be uncomfortable. It's the difference though between like the kind of burning where it's like actually going to break the skin and hurt you versus the kind of burning where it's a little uncomfortable. Nevertheless, you still want to be a little bit careful with your Cool Melt glue gun. Now, if you're not sure that using a Cool Melt glue gun is something you feel confident doing, you could also use a sticky tack or another non-heat activated adhesive. But I kind of like the low melt gun, and most of my students do fine with this. You're going to need your piece of cardboard. This is just a medium weight cardboard, not too hard to cut, but it'll firm up when I've got the buttons attached. I'm going to need some good sharp scissors for cutting out my letter, and a big assortment of different colored buttons. I've seen this project when I was looking on Pinterest where people used like all white buttons or all green buttons, but I like it when it's all mixed together. So the first thing that you're going to do when you open up your kit is some of you are going to have this letter, you know, whatever the letter is of your first name, already cut out and ready to go. Some of you are going to have a card that looks like this where the letter is drawn on the card, in which case you're going to have to cut that out before you begin. And some of you are going to have a perfectly blank piece of cardboard, and you can choose to take a Sharpie or a pencil and create the letter that you want to fill in with buttons. And I'm going to do this one and just freehand draw it. It has to be a bubble letter. And I'm going to take my Sharpie, and I'm going to make an L for Lillis, because my friend Kelly Lillis in counseling, I think, would really like this as a gift. Nice and straight. Now, I'm pretty good at freehanding letters. I've been doing it a long time. If you're not great at freehanding letters, you can print something off the internet and trace around it. You can trace around a letter from, you know, something else that you've got around your house. You have a lot of choices. All right, so there's my L for Lillis, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. So hang with me while I do that part of this step. Okay, I've got my L all cut out. I've got my glue gun nice and warm and ready to go. And it's actually got a little bit of glue in it. I'll probably have to add another stick in a minute. So I'll show you how I like to do this. Let me go ahead and get this paper plate and my scissors out of the way and pull my beads just a bit closer. So I like to start by placing a few of the larger buttons. These are like my anchor buttons. And so this one, I don't like that it has writing on the side, so I'm just going to flip it over. I'm going to add just a little bit to the button, and I'm going to stick it down. And I want to make sure that I sort of work my way. See, this one's sticking up a little. I may have to put it on the paper. Sticking out just above the edge because you don't want to see any of the cardboard when you're done. This orange button's big. It'll take up a lot of room. This time I think I'm going to squirt right on there. And I'm kind of trying to keep my fingers, ouch, out of the hot glue. See, I burned myself just a little. Not bad enough that I'm like going to need medical attention, but it didn't feel terrific. So watch your fingers. I think this red button's nice. And you know the glue will seep up through the holes in the button. So like maybe you want to hold the edges when you're gluing, which is what I kind of wish I'd done. All right, so let me get at least one more anchor button in place. I think I want one up here. This time I'm not going to press down on the middle where the holes are. Live and learn. Okay, so I've got some anchor buttons in place. I think I want one more. Why not, right? I have a nice selection here. Well, let's do this white one. That one's a real pretty one. Okay, so I'm running out of glue. I'm gonna have to put another glue stick in. Just add that when you're done. Okay, so now that I've got my anchor buttons in place, now it's just a matter of slowly filling things in. And I kind of like to work from the top to the bottom once I do that. So I'll do a little bit and then I'll just kind of speed this up and finish it up. So this blue button's kind of pretty. I'm gonna put it down. I put a little glue right on it. And see, there's some space in between the two buttons. I know I don't want that to show, so I'm gonna start thinking about how I can cover it. Now what I have to do is, because I want this to stick between these two buttons, I have to make a pretty good sized glob that sticks up pretty high, and then I can sit my button on top of it. And see, I don't even think I got enough there. I have to go a little more. Yeah, now it'll go. And I leave it, and I'm gonna start filling in. So this time I think I don't want any cardboard showing over here. I'm gonna get a button, kind of stick it in there. And then I'm looking, I can see a little cardboard there. I'm gonna take a really small button this time. I'm gonna be careful not to burn myself this time. Do my glob of glue and just kind of stick it on the glue. So anywhere that I see a little bit of cardboard, let me see if I can show you. Like, see up here at the top, I can still see like some cardboard in a few places. I'm just gonna take it and cover it with another small button. That's why we gave you guys so many. And I can kind of still see the corners. I think I'm gonna put one right here, and I'm layering them on. And you're probably gonna notice you're getting like some strings of hot glue on. Once the glue's set, you can pick all of those off and it's gonna look terrific. Okay, so now the next step is just to finish filling in my letter little by little, bit by bit. It's gonna take a few minutes, so let's speed this up and then I'll show you what to do with it when you're done. Okay, so I'm getting really, really close to being done. So one of the last things that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a look and kind of turn it upright where I can see it upright. And I'm gonna see if there's any places where I can pull off some of these strings of hot glue, because that doesn't look so hot. I wanna make sure I clean that up a little bit. And then I also wanna go through, and any place where I see a little bit of cardboard, I'm gonna take and just make sure I put a few small buttons covering those holes. So this is where I've been using all my little bitty buttons. So I'm gonna stick some little bitty buttons. And notice I don't lay them down perfectly flat. They're kind of all on top of each other, going different directions. That adds some fun texture to your piece. This one's trying to come up. I'm gonna go ahead and glue it down. Maybe put a couple little ones behind it. This is the part that I think's fun, where it really starts to look great, is when you're adding those last few little embellishments. I see a spot down here I need to fill in. Let's fill that in with a couple of buttons. You know, and this is the fun part. I try to mostly kind of stay in the lines a little bit. Oh, here's a little tiny one that'll be perfect for sticking in there. See how the little ones really kind of make it look great? I think that's the best part. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish filling in a few more of these little spots where I can see the cardboard. And then we'll be about done with our project, guys. So let me stick a few more in. That one, we'll see if it stays. Oh no, now I've got a spot over here I need to fill in. Sometimes it's easy to fall down the rabbit hole a little bit. It takes a while. Let me get a couple more stuck in. I'm gonna check my work one more time. Okay, well, I see a couple more spots I could fill in. There's a place I could fill in. I think I'm gonna have to get another glue stick in a second here. One more spot, and then I think I may just have to learn to leave it alone. I'd probably glue more stuff on as long as you'd let me. All right, so cool. I'm gonna give this to Mrs. Lillis. I suspect it's gonna become a wreath on her front door. Don't forget to pick off all the little bits of hot glue that are stuck to it to make sure it looks really nice. And you've got a finished product. Okay guys, have fun and see you next time.